Hey guys, it's Senti Reads, and as you can see by the video title, I'm back on my bullshit with more Amberlynn Reid nonsense. I do have some non-Amber content in the works, but I've been focused on my own writing projects recently, so stay tuned for that eventually. Today I'll be covering some posts from Amberlynn's Tellonym. It's like Ask.fm or any of those other anonymous question websites, or those Instagram Q&As, or stupid Snapchat rants she went on, don't get me started. Amberlynn loves nothing more than to talk about herself, so her Tellonym is a goldmine of absolute stupidity, and she knows the kind of audience she has, so I have no idea why she thinks a Q&A is a good idea, and why she keeps doing them on all these different platforms. But here my dumbass is making a video about it, so she's clearly getting the attention she wants. As per usual, I'll only be focusing on content relating to writing or books. In this video, I'll cover her most recent poems and complaints about people complaining about said poems. I'll have a second video out shortly covering her thoughts on books and writing in general, plus a controversy she got herself caught in when she said she enjoyed reading about sexual assault. Anyway, let's jump into some poetry. Do you enjoy constrained writing? I like some, but not all. I kind of like to take away the rules when it comes to poetry, but sometimes the poem does need a bit more cohesiveness to it. Does she even hear herself? Cohesiveness? That's rich coming from a poet who uses essentially no actual poetic techniques whatsoever and shits 8,000 lines of nonsensical free verse. What is she? She doesn't use any rules. Can you show us new poems in the next video? They're really nice in my opinion. I like reading them a lot. You should put out a poem book as merchandise. I'd buy it. LOL. Thanks so much, but I'm never posting another poem online again, ever. People have ruined that for me. I am never posting another poem online. Proceeds to post many poems for Senti to roast. A couple people posted prompts for Amber to create poems about, and to my surprise, she did quite a few of them. And people were also sending her their own poems, and she would respond to that with a poem back. So it's weird to me she said this, and then she put out a ton of poems. Do you see what I do every night? For you I wait, at the gate, to the garden. Before you wake, I want to take the stars from the sky, cook them in a pie, how lovely. Fake love in her heart, ashes falling in her hands. The experience was painful. Placing the match on the stone-covered counter, her hands shook, olive-colored dress, believing she wore the dress for you. Ice cream melting from the red flame, arson burning the poisoned game. So I'm very confused by Amber's response to the poster's poem. The first poem is very whimsical and kind of loving, and it's just nice, and Amber's response is all doom and gloom with fake love and arson, and I just would have expected a love letter or something in response, not whatever this. Tone aside, this thing is a mess. Amberlynn frequently puts words together because she thinks they sound nice, but the phrase doesn't actually make sense. Stone-covered counter. What? Does she mean like a granite counter? Does she not realize that generally stone counters are solid stone? Like, it's not like wood wrapped in stone. Believing she wore the dress for you. What does this mean? That she realized she was wearing the dress for herself? Was she supposed to show up naked? I'm confused by this. Red flame. Just sounds redundant. Flames by default are kind of red. Maybe if it was like a white hot flame or something like that, it'd be a better description than a red flame. And the last line is just straight up goofy. It's word salad, as she always does. Arson is the criminal act of setting something on fire. It's a legal term. It's not something that can burn. Poisoned game. How can a game be poisoned? Poison was also never mentioned before now, so that's great. Finally, how can arson burn a game, poisoned or otherwise? And don't come for me in the comments saying, but Senti, it's a metaphor. Because no, it's not. This is not a metaphor. It absolutely is not. Prompt for a poem. Birds chirping on a sunny morning. Would you be able to create a poem from that? It's Sunday morning. The leaves of autumn have turned golden brown. I look over at you and I see you smiling. All the memories of last night on your lips. The birds are singing our song, dancing in the sun. Could be better, but that was fun. Thank you for the prompt. I would love to hear someone else's poem or prose to this. It's funny to me that she admits she doesn't like this poem, when in my opinion, it's easily the strongest one she's ever posted. There aren't any absolutely ridiculous lines that piss me off, so that's definitely a plus. It's to the point, and it doesn't ramble on forever, getting more and more incomprehensible. And the singing and dancing birds is a pretty cute image, so I'll give her that one. It's funny to me she doesn't like this, and this is the only one I like. Can you write acrostic poem with the word delusional? Actually, yes, I would love to. I'm just not going to post it on here. But I will post a bunch of other poems to be roasted. But oh shit, is it my turn to write a poem? Let's go, girls. Delusional. Dainty elegance lounges uniquely sensual, essentially, in oversized nightgowns and lace. Okay, so I'm not a poet, but I think this pretty well covers how Sexy Lynn views herself. I would like to see your own delusional acrostic poems in the comments below. Give it your best shot, girls. Write a poem about beach towels. If it wasn't for this high, paranoia among the waves would be laughter instead. Pulling the beach towel around my skin, terry cloth covering my tan line. I wondered when this high would end. Someone at the beach who just had an edible is having anxiety due to THC. Girl, I can't. If you gotta explain it to me, I don't want it. Also, girl clearly has never had an edible before, because if that was me, I'd be chasing seagulls down the beach fighting them for scraps. Fuck seagulls. The smell of the surf, a towel on the sand, the sun on our faces as I take your hand, freewheeling seagulls just out of reach, castles washing away that we built on the beach. Sun is now sinking behind all the waves, but we want to see stars, so we continue to lay, my love and I, at the edge of the land as we lie together on a towel on the sand. That was about 5 minutes of minimal effort. That's a poem, Amber. That's what they asked for. Not a few lines of prose reflecting your fear of being high. I think this is actually a really adorable poem that the poster did a really great job on, but let's see what Amber thinks about it. Since we are allowed to be honest about poetry, I actually did not like this poem. I find that sometimes long poems are dragged on. This literally used to be my main writing style. I hate it now, lol, unless it's needed, of course. But I love prose, so don't be coming for me, lol. Also, I have zero fears of being high. What I wrote had nothing to do with me at all. I like to write poetry by placing myself in situations I have never been in. It honestly is so fun experiencing a new life when writing for a few minutes. Then when the poem is done, it is super rewarding and satisfying. So I can't say it the way she says it. Satisfying. Since we are allowed to be honest about poetry is a weird way to say I'm butthurt that your poem is so much better than mine. This is absolutely not a long poem like she mentions her old style was. Like, do you guys remember her famous Rain and Petals eavesdrop masterpiece when she was wrapped up in that Jon Snow cloak and she went on for like 5 whole minutes? This poem was not nearly that long. Also, by prose, does she just mean writing that isn't poetry? She keeps using that word and I don't know if she knows what it means. Also, she quickly jumps in to say, you guys, I totally do drugs and I'm cool and I definitely wouldn't be scared to be high. Cue the time she was double fisting Delta 8 carts on livestream. Oh, and of course, Empath likes to place herself in others' shoes. Unfortunately, girl must have worn the wrong shoes because she's gonna sit in the car and make thirst trap TikToks while her fiance Becky goes to pick out a headstone for her recently deceased mother. Oof. Sorry girls, let's reel it back. I'm getting a little too spicy. I've seen another YouTuber on Instagram, Cozy Kitsune, ask for 3 random words to try and create a poem, so I thought it'd be fun to give you a challenge too. Silver, sun, deer. When I said I loved the color silver, I didn't realize I meant salt and pepper. It was the sun shining down on your matured hair, the way you pronounced deer. Oh, how I realized aged wine tastes so bitter. About a young adult falling in love with an old man, lol. FBI, open up! Not that it's relevant, but isn't Cozy Kitsune pretty controversial herself? I've seen some videos about her that she's like also a bad person. Sorry, not relevant. Anyway, this poem is another nothing burger. Matured hair is redundant because she just said the hair was salt and pepper, so we understand that it's mature, we don't need that repetition. Also, how the fuck do you pronounce deer any other way? It's just deer. Am I stupid? How else would you pronounce that? That's so weird to me. And yet again, she feels the need to really rub in the age gap with aged wine, and then proceeds to explain the poem as if we were too stupid to pick up on what she meant. But as expected, some people did not like this one and had some problems with it. Why in the world would you take an open-ended poetry prompt and use it to romanticize a very often toxic and predatory relationship dynamic? It could have been an older woman who is falling in love later in life, but no. Poetry isn't all about roses and diamonds. It can be ugly and it can be sad, even toxic. I write poetry about all walks of life. What else I love about poetry is that 10 people can read the exact same poem and get different things out of it. If you got a predatory vibe, that is on you. That is not what my poem is about, though. Much love to you. Okay, first of all, calm your tits. I'm specifically talking to the poster, not Amberlynn, except she also needs to calm her tits, let's be real. I don't think the poem was outwardly creepy or toxic. It wasn't a great poem, but that criticism was a little bit out of pocket, even for me, who is very nitpicky. Poet Lynn is back with her weird word choice of roses and diamonds instead of sunshine and rainbows or some other actual phrase that exists. She just made something up. And she goes on to say that other people can perceive poems differently and get different messages, which is funny given how often she explains her own poems. Can we make our own perceptions, or do we have to accept your explanation? Because it seems like it goes either way, depending on whatever narrative Amberlynn needs to push at the moment. If you have to explain the meaning of your poetry, it's probably not good poetry. This isn't true. Poetry is very much about perception. 3 people can read the exact same poem, and it could mean something different to all of them. Okay, girl, is it 10 people or 3 people? Make up your mind. You're right, poetry is about perception. However, your poems still aren't good, LMAO. But I do think writing is your one good, healthy habit, and you can always become a better writer. Your poems still aren't good. I disagree. Some I genuinely really like. Damn, this girl really said it. I'm inclined to agree with the poster though, because writing is a good and healthy habit for Amber, but she'll never become a better writer because of how amazing she already thinks she is. Her poems are still bad, in my opinion. The ones she's posted in this Tellonym are bad, but I'd be lying if I said I haven't seen some growth from her old stuff. But she will never truly be good though until she can let go of her ego. Of course you really like your own poems. You're a narcissist. Most of them don't actually make sense. Your metaphors don't work because you don't look up words before trying to use them. I'm not talking about my old stuff floating around the internet. I'm talking about my current writing. I have gotten better and I enjoy some of the poetry I write. This is a good thing. Why are you making it seem like such a bad thing? Girl! Even your current writing isn't as good as you think it is. Enjoying writing poetry is not the problem here. The problem is Amberlynn acting like God's gift to the literary world when she can hardly speak English. OMG, Amber, you're such a narc for liking your own poems. Well, yeah, why would we create and post stuff we don't even like ourselves? Like what? Are these people okay? Are we only going to post projects that we think are shit? What's the point of that? Some of y'all have no self-esteem and it shows. Imagine putting someone down for liking what they create. GTFO. I didn't even think of that, LOL. Of course people should like the art they create. Okay, Am baby, go stand over there and calm your tits with that hater from before. There's a difference between liking your own work and having an inflated ego. Amberlynn will write the most asinine combination of words and defend it to the death like she's written a masterful Shakespearean sonnet. But more on that later. LMAO, how people who are picking apart your poems haven't read poetry since grade school and couldn't name a good poet if Google smacked them in the face. You might be right, LOL. I see them now going to Google to throw poets' names around, LOL. You know our girl also went straight to Google to look up some poets after she read this. You know Amber's not out here reading Maya Angelou or Walt Whitman, and no, Amber, I didn't have to use Google to know their names. Back to aforementioned fight to the death over stupid poetry lines. Could you explain these 2 lines that you've written and stuff you posted on your writing online? I'm not intelligent like a rose's shape. Creamy cheeses is a shimmer to an outlet. These are old, like 10 years old, LOL. I wrote these when I lived in Virginia. I love going back and reading my old stuff and seeing my improvement. It amazes me. But yes, let me explain what I meant then. I find roses to be beautiful, as if Mother Nature sculpted them perfectly. In my opinion, art comes with intelligence. The creamy cheeses one, this poem was about my food addiction. Food for me is an outlet to be numb from pain and stress or emotions in general. At the time, I was binging a lot of things with cheese. Binging on mac and cheese was a small moment to an outlet that I escaped so I didn't feel so many emotions. Okay, I've got a lot to get into here, guys. Reminder, 10 years ago would still make her in her 20s, so a full-grown adult, not a little kid writing silly little poems. Keep that in mind. And with the roses, is she referring to intelligent design? The concept that it's so perfect that a god must have created it? Amberlynn already doesn't believe the moon landing was real, so I wouldn't be surprised if she was actually a creationist herself. I'm kidding. I think the line is stupid, but I think what the concept is she's trying to get at is intelligent design. She doesn't even have to bother to explain the creamy cheeses as a shimmer to an outlet line, because nothing about that will ever make sense. First of all, it should be cheeses are, not cheeses is. That's a grammar error. Second of all, what the fuck? By outlet, does she mean coping mechanism? Because when I first read this line, I read it as like shoving cream cheese into an electrical outlet until sparks come out. Because what else could she mean by that? What else could she mean by shimmer? That is a weird word to me. Maybe what she means is that there's light at the end of the tunnel because she has some Kraft mac and cheese to blast into her pie hole. Whatever. Her explanation is so stupid here. But I've run out of brain cells for the day from reading all this crap, so I gotta level with you girls. I'm done. I'll see you in the next video because I can't handle any more of this shit right now. So see you in the next one, guys. Bye.